I'm Corporal Hamza.
I'm Corporal Mende.
I'm Sergeant Malloy.
I'm Corporal Page.
I'm Cadet Smith.
I'm Corporal O'Sullivan.
And I'm Cadet Langford.
So to begin with, we're each going to tell you one thing we've learnt from the camp, and that will be followed by information about the projects we've been given. One thing I've learnt on this camp is how to prepare for a decent night's sleep. On night one, I simply got into my tent in my sleeping bag, woke up in the night freezing cold. So to prepare for a better night's sleep the following day, I doubled my roll mat so it was nicer to sleep on. I also wore extra layers and used all my additional clothing as a cushion, and I woke up feeling fine.
What I learnt was that motivation is quite a key thing. So on day one, we made it round in a good time, but we were a bit grumpy halfway around. We were a bit slow at areas, and morale wasn't that high. So day 2 and day 3, we decided to, include more motivation, more encouragement. With that, we did get around faster. The team was happier. We were able to get more done. So we're definitely going to carry on doing that through our goals.
I learned that taking my vitamin D pills make me high. It beats the walk. But I might prepare physically for goals because I struggled on the last day of silver.
I've learnt that I need to bring more food and sacrifice having a lighter bag to have more food in there, so it might be a bit heavier. This means that I'll have more energy, so I'll be able to complete the walk in a better time.
I have learnt that from my last DV I needed to get better boots so that I didn't get blisters, and that would enable me to walk better, and throughout this camp it has made me walk quicker, faster, and being able to not have as many breaks.
I learnt to, firstly, not to ever share a tent with Corporal Hamza because he's lazy and gets out of bed last. Secondly, I learnt to watch what I take because I had 3 things which exploded in my rucksack. For example, my custard. I went to go and tighten the strap and I just had a complete pop, so I've got to clean that. Other than that, it was a good experience.
I learnt to have a lighter bag for goals because my bag was very heavy, and that meant that I couldn't walk to the best of my ability because it was so heavy. So for gold, I'm going to have a lighter bag by putting less things in and carefully selecting what I take, and as a result of that I'll be able to walk better and walk faster.
The project we were tasked with was to study the effects of tourism on the countryside. A positive effect of this was it brings income into the local area, helping the economy, and the money can also be used to preserve the natural trust which we were able to walk through.
A negative effect is that the tourists can damage the environment and the wildlife which inhabits it. When we were going round, we saw quite a lot of rubbish, specifically around near rivers and near fields, so sheep were in it, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, we could tell that some of the animals do eat litter. They can get trapped in it, so they can die or become ill, which will eventually damage the wildlife themselves. Also, it just ruins the aesthetics of the environment as well when you're going around.
The cars driving around can cause erosion on the footpaths, but also release gases which cause pollution and can harm the wildlife.
Me and Corporal Langford were trying to think about the positive effects of tourism. So one thing we came up with what Corporal O'Sullivan said was that it brings money into the local economy and local businesses can thrive.
We also found that throughout the local businesses there were tourists going in and out, getting souvenirs, snacks, drinks, ready for whatever they were doing that day.
One part of our investigation as well was to understand the erosion of tourists, and we realised that positive it can create footpaths. So like after walking on them, like you can see where to walk on and where not to walk on. But also on you can also see that can also cause like slippery footpaths as well, and people can like get injured, and which is quite a negative as well.
We noticed that when we're going through fields with crops in, there'll be designated paths, and these are for tourists. So this is better for tourists and the farmers, as the tourists won't walk all over the crops, which will damage the fields and the contents of it. So he'll get more crops out of it, and it's better for the tourists as well because they know where to walk and there'll be a designated path for them, so they don't get lost or anything. And this land isn't used by the farmer anyway because it's his like waste area, so it's a win for both the farmer and the tourists.
That concludes our presentation.